Well, look, everybody, TikTok's a shithole. What else is new? Hey, friends, it's Beck the Feminist Lawyer, and I'm going to put my glasses on. I don't know how to solve this whole ring light glasses issue, but I'm going to need these bad boys. I'll try to keep my head down and to the side, all fashionable like. So we've had some drama in the Talkiverse. First off, one of my favorite creators, Hawk, had his primary and backup accounts skedaddled by the owners of TikTok. He is an extremely intelligent leftist lawyer, and he has been very supportive of the watermelon people, and this is a problem for TikTok. That said, I've also had a whole bunch of my videos completely shadow banned. I've had over 100,000 views on some of my videos, and then some of them get like 0 or like 5. So if you have some favorite, feminist or leftist, anti-fascist creators here on TikTok, you got to make sure to go to their pages and check for their stuff because it's not being put up in your FYP anymore. Also, you may follow some of us to other places, like places where the sky is blue or there are big red play buttons. You can always find me at Beck the Feminist Lawyer. So Hawk has created a new account, but he's gone, from over 1.5 million followers to about, a couple 100,000 followers. So that's, pretty big hit for my man to take. And, I hope he doesn't give up because he spreads a good message. Also, there's been some drama about Off Jawagon, which is really unfortunate because I literally just stitched one of his films, and I have always enjoyed a really well-read and well-reasoned analysis that came from this guy. But apparently, put him, alcohol, and beautiful women like Polymouth Pollyanna. Oh, I said polymouth. That is not what I meant to say. Pottymouth Pollyanna and some others. If you put all of them in the same room together, apparently there's some grab acid going on. There's been an apology and all that, and I hope he actually means it. But yeah, I'm sorry. You mess with my girls. I am Beck the Feminist Lawyer, after all. So you mess with my girls, and there's gonna be consequences to that business. Broken tout women's rights and leftist principles and feminism all he wants. But if being drunk gives you an excuse to treat a woman like an object, you need to work on your feminism. And I'm hearing stuff about other influencers, doxing the people who criticize them. And man, come on. This is behavior that we get subjected to as creators. I have been doxxed. I've been review bombed on my books. I've had people calling my employers, trying to find out who I am, trying to find out where I'm barred. If I'm barred, by the way, I'm not a barred attorney. I have 2 law degrees. Therefore, I'm a lawyer. But that does not mean that I am an attorney. I am not barred to practice anywhere. I run a conflict management firm. I am not in legal practice right now. I am a lawyer. I am not an attorney. I have never made a secret about this, but apparently it's like a big old deal that I call myself a lawyer when I'm not an attorney, even though I've never effing called myself an attorney ever. A very simple trip to the dictionary will fix that one up for you. And this is why I get the wiggles when I have to call myself an academic doctor. I am an academic doctor. I have a doctorate. So when I'm in an academic setting, when I used to teach in a university, the students called me doctor, and it's because I am an academic doctor. But I even get squirrely about that because I don't want people, confusing me with like a psychological doctor or like a medical doctor. I've never called myself an attorney. Ever, doctor people. Anyway, that's the shit those people pull. The review bombers, the people who call employers, the people who try to get you fired for, talking about what's happening in Minneapolis. Telling the truth about things. That's what they do, man. We don't need to do that. When the truth is on your side, you don't need to do that stuff. Now, if you have to defend yourself, that's a different situation. So I had a particularly dangerous feeling stalker, and I had to try to find out if that person could potentially have access to me. And that's the reason I did that. I didn't go posting all of their business online like, hey, this is where you can find this person who's been harassing me. Didn't do any of that. But what I did was find out where they were so I could make sure that they weren't going to show up at any of that, at my book signings or, anything of that nature. That's self-defense. That's not going on the offense. And I think a lot of people just fail to remember that creators are actual humans, and the people who are on the internet, while there are a lot of bots, don't get me wrong, I've got my share of bots that have gotten onto my accounts in various places. While there are bots out there are also actual, humans here behind the camera. And we mess up and we're not perfect, and sometimes we're wrong. And when we're wrong about things, hopefully you get a valid apology, which includes changed behavior. But I wish the best for Hawk, who, didn't do anything wrong. And I wish the best for all of the victims of these other TikTokers who wild out and, didn't act like real humans. Just don't forget, an apology is not an apology until you see changed behavior. So if you have some favorite creators here on TikTok, make sure you try to find us elsewhere. I've got Beck the Feminist Lawyer on pretty much everything. But if you want to buy my books, you can find it in the link in my bio, or you can search for author Beck Duffield, because that's me. Got 2 out currently, Letters from the Front, Poems and Trauma Recovery, and my newest one is called Spheres. I will be having the release party next Friday. Y'all stay safe out there. Keep fighting the good fight.